Welcome to the Seed Creative Podcast, the podcast where we discuss both video production and just life in general. The goal of this podcast is the same as the goal of our business, to make a difference in people's lives.
Hello and welcome to the newly renovated podcast studio of the Seed Creative Podcast LLC. No, it's not LLC.
We didn't renovate anything.
Yeah, we did. I mean, sort of.
We stuck new. Well,
we moved a ton of stuff. I was saying, we moved the desk, the cameras, the sound panels, the lighting.
New sound panels, new lighting.
New arms. It's the same place, but it's not the same podcast studio. Not really.
Yeah, it's different. Different enough.
Hopefully it looks good and we don't get clowned on.
Audio people aren't going to know a single difference.
They might. They might be like, hey, it's quieter.
Nick's constant enthusiasm is so joyous.
It's masked by severe sarcasm with my own life. Anyway, so that's the first thing is we finally, I would say, this is the most complete the podcast studio has been and probably will be for a long time.
True.
And these sound panels are awesome. They're hexagons for the audio listeners.
Yeah, they look a lot better for sure.
Yeah,
than our janky, just thrown together sound blocks that I had bought, 6 years ago or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we had bought some new ones, but now we're using them all around the studio.
So it should sound better. Yeah, that's true.
So it looks a lot jankier for the person that is in here, as all good video production is, than what it actually looks like. Because if you look up, you're like, why is there a light stand from 1985 up there?
That probably is from 1985.
I just was throwing out.
Those are the Lowell Toda.
I was gonna say
those are hot lights, buddy. The stands are for hot lights.
And now that I see this, you need to move your microphone down a little bit.
Why? Because of my face.
Yeah, look at your face.
Oh gosh! All right, hold on.
We got to show his face reveal.
Face reveal. Is that better?
Yeah.
That's how I usually have my microphone whenever I'm doing the voiceovers for motion effects videos.
You have it just down your throat.
Yeah, that's better, I guess.
Well, anyway, other news is that a Final Cut update came out, which is surprising. I don't know. We haven't had one in a while. And
it's not surprising. There were surprises.
Okay, well, what were the surprises?
iPad.
Oh, well, that's... I thought you meant... I was talking about 10.6.6, but iPad is also...
Oh, I guess 10.6.6 breaking all FX Plug 3 for everyone, even on Intel, was definitely not foreseen.
You said that weird. It's Intel. You said Intel.
Sorry.
This is weird. I'm close to you.
Yeah, I feel close to you lately, too. Oh, you mean physically? Oh my God! It's good to be black.
I feel close to you too.
I feel close to. Dude, what is wrong with us?
I like that
we're like 4 minutes into the podcast.
I like that you knew exactly what I was saying, but yet you took it the other way as a joke. Was anyway. But yeah, so there's a new Final Cut update. It's kind of made some news. iPad has been a big thing.
Yeah.
Logic came out too, and Logic there's not a lot to talk about. It works the way it's supposed to.
Right. It's just interesting, man. I think that there are some audio unit plugins that started working again in Final Cut, but then other ones also are now broken. So it is interesting.
And it's definitely a little buggy because we've had
we've had some bugs, but nonetheless, overall, I'm happy that 10.6.6 is out because there are major change or additions enough to support the idea that Final Cut's not going away or anything.
My personal favorite is before you had to color via color boards.
Right.
And now that's still there, but you can change it to something new called color adjustments, which for anybody that does editing, it's basically Lumetri from...
It's like super simple sliders.
It's exactly how Premiere is. I think LumaFusion's the same way. So it made me happy because that's how I started coloring originally. Yeah. That's how it was in Final Cut 7, I think. I don't know. Don't fact check me on that one. I'm not sure. But that was like the biggest change for me personally. But there's also like a lot of new like thumbnails and stuff. It just kind of has like an overhaul.
Yeah, it's a fresh update.
Are there new effects?
Yeah, they're new effects. The big effect that everyone is going to talk about the most is going to be the new scene removal tool.
Yeah, so I haven't used it at all.
We can break down that a little bit in a minute, but so there's that. There's the new color tools. There are a lot of new titles, some new backgrounds. The titles, in my opinion, a little iMovie-ish. Like they're good. They're okay. I will never use them ever for anything as long as I live. But the backgrounds are okay too.
Sorry, I'm laughing because, well, you just posted about it, so I think we could talk about it. We're doing a video for a company that makes urns.
Yes.
So when you said, as long as I live, that was the first thing I thought of.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's why I was laughing. We will be shooting this video the week that this podcast comes out.
Oh, so yeah, we're shooting videos and photos of digital urns next week. Stay tuned. So anyway, so scene removal tool. I have mixed feelings on this.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of setup. And when I say a lot, I don't mean a lot. There are many steps to using it and it working the way that you want it to work, almost to a point where you would just say, well, why wouldn't you just use a green screen?
Okay. What are the main flaws?
Okay, so I'm not going to go into flaws. I'm just going to explain how it works.
Okay.
So you must record a blank frame with absolutely nothing in it but the background, either at the very beginning or at the very end of your shot. So that what Final Cut does is it analyzes that frame, and then it just, anything that passes in front of it from now on, it has those pixels. I think that it's working based on movement. So it's analyzing movement. So for instance, if you have a frame in which you have trees are your background and they're blowing in the wind, it will not work. Absolutely will not work no matter what. Because as soon as those trees start moving, you're going to get all kinds of crazy artifacts, and it's just not going to happen. If any lighting, changes or anything like that, I have not tested the lighting, but my theory is not going to work because the pixels are just, they look too different. So again, it's almost to a point where I am curious as to what really is the benefit of this, unless all we're seeing right now is the foundation and building blocks of something bigger and better.
Yeah, maybe. And we can say this because they've announced it at the Final Cut Pro.
We cannot say it yet.
We can't?
It was only for people that joined.
Oh, I wasn't going to say the name, but I was going to say in general what said thing does.
Yeah, no, we're not allowed to.
Okay, well,
sorry.
I didn't say anything bad in this amount of time, so
no.
we don't have to cut anything
out.
Yeah,
if you were part of the either Final Cut Pro Global Summit, the one that I spoke at in Los Angeles, or the virtual, you know what we're talking about. But this is strictly only for people that joined in the summit.
Dang.
Yeah, so we are not allowed to.
We're not allowed to talk about it.
Not until it releases.
Well,
sorry.
At one point we'll talk about it.
At one point we'll talk about it.
But yeah,
it's not today.
So there's kind of no point. I guess the only reason you could possibly use it is if you went to a place and they were like, "Hey, can you green screen this?" And you're like, "Well, I don't have green screen. What can I do?"
Sure.
You could go against a blank wall.
And if you set it up the way that you're supposed to,
and light it well,
it looks okay. It does an okay job. It actually does a pretty good job if you do it. But again, there are so many steps that if you don't do it well, and they're not hard steps. Let me make that clear. It's just if you don't do these steps, it's not going to work.
Yes. Yeah. It's very weird because it's not very often that there are plugins that you use that have this specific of a way to shoot.
So, and you have zero control. You have no tools whatsoever to change, if you want to soften your edges, if you want any sort of a glow or anything around behind you. like you're not going to be able to do that. Now, I assume what they're going to say is, well, if you want to do that, just add a soften effect and it would go below the scene removal effect. Okay, that's fair. That might work. I don't know. I haven't tested it.
DaVinci people would like that because it works so layer. I mean, obviously every NLE works in layers, but like the way they color is in layers, you know, so maybe that's what they're thinking is people will come at it. They don't want to adjust individual effects. They want to add another effect.
Sure, maybe. But all I'm going to say is the closest resemblance currently on the market is a plugin called Keeper. And Keeper does not require all those steps. However, Keeper is only going to key people out. And so if, you know, like with this new Final Cut update, if you wanted to make it look like strawberries are raining down in front of something, and see, again, if you're going to go through that length, you would just set a green screen up. But if you don't do that, then you can have a blank frame, drop your strawberries. Okay, it analyzes your strawberries. Now have a you know, there's no background or anything. It's keyed out for you. Cool. Keeper can't do that. But again, I'm just throwing it out there. To me, any professional that's shooting product video or anything like that, if they're wanting to do that, they're already shooting either on a solid black background anyway, so they can luma key, or they are shooting on a green screen.
So I guess
it's just weird. I'm sorry.
Let me go into more specific about what I think my ideal use case is. I'm going to get like really specific. So let's say you're filming a convention, like you're filming an event coverage video.
Yes.
And the client is supposed to bring a backdrop and they forget it. That happens all the time.
Yeah.
What you would do is go find a blank wall somewhere.
Yeah.
And then light the wall like you would light a green screen.
Yeah.
Because you need to separate. The separation will help.
Yeah, because you don't want shadows. But the good thing, I will say the good thing about the Final Cut is actually you don't have to light the background at all. As long as you're not casting shadows and as long as the background isn't like, you know, moving or like super, like it's not like bricks that's going to maybe cause
because we tried a
moray.
detailed background from something.
We tried a detailed background from something and it did not work at all.
No.
Like
there was even a clear frame.
And there was a clear frame at the beginning and it did not work at all. But there was a lot going on in the background. There was no movement, but there was a lot going on.
So in theory, that is a good use case and it's good to know it exists.
Yeah, sure.
So like we could theoretically know that this exists and try it, and then worst case scenario, it just doesn't work.
Sure.
But relying on it is not an option.
So one of the reasons I'm talking about this so much is because it's obvious, and I don't want to knock all of the hard work that went into this because I know that it was a lot of work, and I'm sure that this is a foundational version of what this thing is eventually going to do. I got it. Like, I understand that. But to me, what matters is what I can do with a tool now, not in the future. And the fact that Apple left out the ability to link files to an external SSD blows my mind.
Sorry, be specific because you kind of transitioned.
Okay.
On the iPad.
On the iPad. Because to me, it was like this scene removal mask is like, other than the fact that you can now edit in something that, you know, looks like Final Cut Pro, is the scene removal mask. So it's like, okay, cool. But to me, I would have left out scene removal mask and given the ability to link to external files. I mean, maybe there's a reason. I don't know. But any professional, any semi-professional that would use Final Cut on iPad
will not use it.
I know for a fact they are not going to use it until external SSD support is there.
Yeah.
And so it's like you put all this effort into making the scene removal tool. Why couldn't we just have that later?
And to be clear, there is support, but you can't save your files on it and you have to import. So you can't import stuff. So theoretically, if you
can't link to files already on the SSD.
So let's say no one does this, but let's just say, for example, they like copy to library for some reason.
Okay.
Then theoretically, you could do it.
Sure.
So like if you shot C200 footage and you wanted to put it in a library and then take it to your computer,
correct.
That is a use case that does work, but you got to have a iPad with enough. You got to have a 1 terabyte iPad.
Two things, right? You have to have enough storage on your iPad, and let's imagine, Nick, we're out on a shoot, and we'll use a low number for us, 300 gigs. We've shot 300 gigs of footage. You've imported it. You copied it to library. It's on your iPad. Sweet. Now you want to transfer it to your iMac or your Mac Studio or your whatever. You about to airdrop 300 gigs?
I think you can plug in USB-C from the iPad. I think that's how it's going to work.
I thought everything that I've seen is you are to airdrop your library, your Final Cut library from iPad over to your new computer. Again, I could be wrong, but
hey,
yeah.
I can test that real quick so we can know which is right.
All right.
Gavin's going to go, no.
Don't.
Don't.
You have to get up.
Yeah, don't go
goodbye.
test it, Gavin. Thank you for checking, but everything that I've seen, the method that is like, everyone is like, then just airdrop the library, and that's what everyone says.
I think this is made for the GoPro drone people of the world.
Just get it done, finish it out on your iPad.
Like I watched this guy, he makes his entire living on YouTube. He's exclusively a drone and GoPro reviewer guy. He edits all of it in LumaFusion on iPad right now. It's made for people like that.
So to me, that's not Final Cut Pro.
Yeah.
Because that's not that's not a professional workflow.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, that's just me.
I'm not arguing for it.
Yeah.
I'm upset. I'm bummed too. Because also we should say you can't use it unless you have an M1 chip, which is very surprising considering my iPad's super fast and can you do LumaFusion without M1, and it's an iPad Air, not top spec, but can do it fine.
Yeah.
So that kind of sucks too. So it's all very like, it exists, but like it's not ready.
Is it weird? I'm equally, I mean, I wasn't around in the world then, but like I understand the frustration that people had with Final Cut 10 jumping from Final Cut 7 to Final Cut 10, because it's like everyone was so excited, and I'm excited for scene removal because that means they're working on things that, okay, like we're using machine learning, AI, whatever. I'm excited for iPad because it means there's a lot of emphasis on we want to continue supporting this app. All of that is great. That makes me super happy. I'm equally as bummed because of the implementation of it is just underwhelming.
So, I mean, I wasn't a professional editor then, but I was editing as a kid then.
Yeah.
And I was editing in Final Cut 7, and I was very upset when it happened. And I was a kid.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine being a professional editor at the time. Now we understand why now, and it makes...
Again, it's like the building blocks.
Yeah.
It makes sense now, and I think that maybe we're wrong. Maybe the way that they've implemented bringing it to iPad first and only letting you import the library, maybe scene removal tool, it's all going to make sense 3-4 years from now. But right now, it's got a lot of people scratching their heads.
Are they assuming that we're going to edit via the cloud?
So that's what I think.
That's probably what it is.
That's what I think. I think eventually it's going to be like, well, you don't have to airdrop anything because by the time that iPad gets to your studio, that library is already in your cloud.
Yeah, so I think maybe it's like Apple's classic like forcing you to adapt thing,
but not telling anyone what's going on.
And then eventually
you're
like, oh, that's why they did it. So like maybe we'll look back and be like, they intentionally nerfed. That's a video game term if you don't know that.
Sure.
Like they intentionally nerfed it so that way eventually you would use cloud. I don't know.
But it's like, why not just say that?
I don't know.
Why not like, no, I understand there's a lot of secretive, like, you know, oh, let's keep things under wraps a little bit, but it's like sometimes people like want to know what to look forward to. Well, at least a little. you know?
Well, to me, there's one cool feature and then some significance to the way that they did this. So the coolest feature, I think, is the Apple Pencil drawing and animating support.
That is cool, yes.
So, like, I haven't done it. And Gavin, you can chime in if you want to, but basically you can draw in an animation and it'll draw in those steps in individual title layers is like essentially how it works. Is that right, Gavin?
Yeah, I'll chime in real quick. That is correct.
This is why we keep Evan.
Just that, so he could come in and say that's correct. Yeah, and it works. I mean, it's just like a motion path, and it just follows the path from the beginning of your stroke to the end of your stroke. That's one path. That's for anyone that understands like After Effects or Apple Motion or anything. And I think that you can slightly mess with, like you can start the animation from the beginning of the path or from the end, and it'll go in reverse.
Well, see, like what it does is like there's a stroke, that's a title. And then when you do another stroke, that's another title. So it like stacks up.
Oh, is that how they?
That's how it works.
That's because in iPad it's one layer. It is a.
I thought it was multiple layers.
No, I think that it might convert it when you change over to Final Cut on Mac, and it might be layers.
That's what you mean.
I could be wrong there too, but I'm almost positive that it's a single. It almost looks like a generator layer. Gavin, isn't that what it looks like?
What?
Isn't it multiple? Is it?
No, it's just one title.
Oh,
that's what I've seen on iPad, but I haven't transferred anything to Mac.
Yeah, we have yet to try that.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason to.
Yeah, because we're not going to use it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Gavin's the only one with an M1 iPad here, or an Apple Silicon iPad.
And
here.
of any of us, he'd be the one that would be most like,
inclined
I want to use it for things.
Because he's using Logic, so.
And I don't want to use it because the copy files to library thing is just... my iPad has 64 gigs. I could import like one or two of my Blackmagic clips, and that's it.
Right. Yeah.
Well, the thing that makes me excited about all this, not only is the fact that it exists, it's something that people's been asking for a long time. You know, obviously there's all these theories about like Apple is just trying to eventually merge all devices into one and make one master device, all of this stuff. To me, the biggest indicator, and at the time of release, WWDC's keynote is the next day after this comes out. And the fact that they didn't spend any time, like they just announced this in a press release right before, it means they had to kick it out of WWDC, which means that there's big stuff coming. I think
so.
And I mean, this is a little bit of a transition, but I'm almost certain that we're gonna get an AR headset.
I think so too.
And I think that is gonna be. I think we're about to experience like the biggest Apple announcement since
iPhone.
No, not since iPhone. Apple Silicon.
Since Silicon.
Since Silicon, for sure, since Silicon.
Yeah.
But one of the biggest in their history, especially because I feel like they're getting in on the earlier side than they normally do. Normally, they would let Meta figure this out for another 10 years and then make one that's slightly better and 10 times more expensive.
Sure.
So I don't know what the use case is going to be, if it's going to be AR, if it's actually going to be VR. I kind of doubt it's going to be VR. But we'll see, and what the price is going to be. Any guesses, just like off the top of your head, how much you think it'll
cost? For like a pair of AR glasses?
The AR headset, yeah.
Well, there's a difference because VR, to me, like the way I distinguish between the two, VR is going to be a headset. AR is going to be some form of like glasses, like everyday wear.
But Microsoft HoloLens is AR, but it looks like a giant VR headset.
Yeah, I just don't think
like
that Apple. I don't think that
Pro.
Apple is gonna go. They're gonna want things to be like sleek and small. I would think.
I think they're gonna make something like. Let me make sure I'm saying the right product. I'm pretty sure it's the Meta Quest Pro.
Yeah, that's a lot thinner.
No, it's not.
The newer one. It's thinner than the Quest 2.
The Meta Quest Pro. This thing's huge.
Yeah, that's smaller than the Quest 2 though.
Okay,
that's what I mean. It's thinner.
Yes, Gavin. You can always chime in.
Have y'all not seen the leaked photos?
I have, but I don't know if
months?
We think those are real. We think those are fake.
Well, I haven't seen them.
Like the one with Tim Cook, he has like the googly eyes.
No. I'm talking about just like the product shot looking leaks, where it just looks like a futuristic pair of goggles.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at an app. Oh, is this what you're talking about? I'll put it on screen. If so, is it like? Can you see that?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna hand it to George. I have seen this.
Okay, so that's what I'm.
Okay, I thought you meant closer to like this. I was like, George, the technology's not there yet.
Yeah, no, I guess I'm sorry. I was meaning like small, sleek, thin, like this. But I still don't think that. I just don't know. I don't think that
So you think it's going to be AR though, correct?
Dude, I just don't see a future. I don't see a future long term in VR only.
I agree.
Like, I think that AR is going to be so much easier for people to accept and understand. Like, think about it. Like, we already have the tech anyway. I mean, I know that there was a Google announcement a while back, and they're showing that you use the camera on your phone and you look around, and it's going to do exactly what we did for motion VFX, the M callouts, some kind of captions pack or something. But I put your glasses on, remember, and acted like they were AR glasses.
Oh.
And you walk around and it shows an arrow in the street.
That is
it shows
the
a
future.
sail. That's where we're going for sure.
When Apple makes one that is this size, I will buy it immediately. I don't care how much it costs because I've wanted that for years.
Yeah. If they make a headset like what you just showed me, I think it's going to be $29.99.
I think it's going to be that's close to us. I was going to say 35.
Yeah.
I'm trying to because what's it called? What did I say? Microsoft HoloLens.
Yeah.
Like is made for, because right now the best use case is for people that are like working on big machines and that kind of stuff. Like that the companies can afford that.
Yeah.
But I believe, let me see if I can find the price. It's really expensive. $3,500. So it's got
a HoloLens.
Yeah, so it's got to be 5. I bet Apple makes it 5 then.
You think so?
Yeah. Apple always goes like way above.
I think the version that's actually usable and useful may be in that price range.
So,
I think they're gonna have almost like a MacBook Air style and then like a Pro style.
yeah, what is it going to be called? That's the real question. Because they're going to have it's not going to be called Apple AR glasses. It's going to be called like the HoloLens. Like, it's going to have a name. It's going to have a brand name.
Yeah, it's gonna. Well, I'm curious if they're
Apple Glass.
when they're gonna officially drop I in front of things. Like iPhone, iMac, iPad. Like, do you think that they'll ever drop that?
iPhone is no.
You don't
They'll
think they'll
never do that?
You don't think so?
Why not? I mean, why
Well,
would
I guess I'm sorry. With new products are not going to be I anything.
Well, MacBook. Well, I'm trying to think. What's the last product? Like Apple Watch. Boom.
Yeah, it's just
not, it's
Apple
not
or something.
iWatch.
So would it not be like Apple glasses?
Apple headset.
Apple glasses.
That doesn't sound like it's gonna have some really dumb name, like Dynamic Island. That's the name of the thing on the phone.
Oh
right?
no, I know.
Yeah, okay.
I know what Dynamic Island is. It's just funny that you it's gonna have some dumb name like Dynamic Island.
Well, we were all making fun of it. We're all kind of like, but it's also kind of.
But
cool.
it's also kind of.
And I
cool.
bought the phone, and I'll buy the next phone
because of the Dynamic Island.
Yeah. Well, that it's like I'm on the upgrade program now, so it's like out for like $200 a year. I can get a new phone. I know.
I think it's fancy.
Well, it's just the trade-in deal. So you're behind. What do you have? You have an 11?
I don't know what I have.
No, you don't have an 11. You have a 13.
13 Pro.
Yeah, that's right. Because we all have the same phone.
13 Pro Max, 1 terabyte.
Oh yeah, I don't have 1 terabyte, but I never need it.
I do. I could edit on Final Cut Pro on my phone better than Gavin could on his iPad.
See, I delete stuff. You're not a deleter of things. Like you don't even delete your emails. Like I put mine in archive. Yeah, I'm sure. Oh god, almost 100K, everybody.
100,000 emails.
There's two kinds of people
in my email.
There's
app.
people that archive and there's people that don't, and there's no in between. You and Gavin are non-archivers. I've seen Gavin's inbox too. If you go to my inbox right now, I guarantee you there's no more than 2 emails in it.
Wow.
But then you just type it in. But also, then sometimes it is harder to find. So I'll give you that.
I'm just really jealous of all the people with Cinegear in Los Angeles.
We're going to the
now.
Atlanta one probably unless something comes up. Though we are going to be in Atlanta the week before it now, so TBD.
What are we doing in Atlanta the week before?
I don't think we can say because we haven't got a contract for it yet. But it's the thing that we're the BTS crew for.
Oh yeah, we have a meeting about that tomorrow.
Is that tomorrow? This week has gone by fast.
It's
been a fast week because George has been gone for like a week,
7 days,
something like that.
Yep.
So we didn't burn down the seed.
And then yesterday I had a shoot all day. So
yeah, I was lonely here yesterday. I was like,
because I took Gavin with me. I was like, give me my Gavin.
And I'm editing. I'm editing a.
I need my Gavin. That's an inside joke.
Oh yeah, that is an
I need my George.
was sad editing here yesterday. I was
Were
just
you
like,
really?
Yeah, a little bit.
You didn't look sad when I was staring at you on the camera.
See, I always think you are. I know you
I
don't.
never do.
I talk to you sometimes.
Really?
I'll be like, hey, George. If I hear it click, because sometimes it'll click.
Yeah.
But
I don't know what it is.
I don't know
because I
either.
never look at it.
It's the other.
I've looked at it. I'll look at it before if I'm like, I know that someone's gonna come by and like drop something off, and I'm like, let me just make sure Nick hasn't been like abducted or something.
That's good. And then what would you do? Does it record?
Yeah. It
Okay.
records whenever it sees people.
Because if it only told you I was gone, what?
I don't know.
Give me a 10-minute head start.
Be like, crap, Nick is gone, and I don't know the workflow for this server. Like, oh, and Nick's gone. We need to get him back.
Yeah.
Sorry, I scared you earlier today. By the way.
Oh, hey, Seth Farmer's on the way to stop by.
There we go.
This has just evolved into anyway. Apple events coming. There's new Final Cut. We have a new studio. We wish we were at Cinegear. Hopefully, we should next time we go to something that's like an AB. We should go to LA Cinegear.
Yeah.
I feel like I think that's what all the people were telling. But a lot of people go to both.
Yeah,
But I'm sad we're not hanging out with Jared.
that yeah.
I've still never met him. I want to meet him so bad. I was so bummed when he didn't come to. He couldn't come to. What's it called? NAB.
I think he was working on Komodo X.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait, we can talk about that. That came out since we did a last podcast, too.
I want one.
I do, too.
Yeah,
Or I just want a cheap original Komodo, which people are dumping.
I want either.
Yeah. I don't think, what's the frame rate difference? Is it 50 or something?
You can do 80 frames in.
Yeah, but
6K.
what was 6K originally?
40?
Yeah. But also, that's not what it's. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I want it, though. The thing is, by the time you buy the kit, it's like,
Yeah, I know.
it gets steep.
It does.
I know. One day.
One day.
We have this one project that we've always said, if we get this project, we'll buy a Komodo.
Sure.
And then they keep pushing off the project, and we just keep staring at our computers and going back to doing it. We're not complaining. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I'm sorry I am the way that I am, and I don't like go into debt for gear, but we just don't do that.
I don't want you to go into different gear.
We just
I like
don't-
going to bed at night knowing that you can pay me.
Well, sorry, I've got to make this payment to Jared because I bought all this red stuff and I can't really afford it.
Be like, Nick, I fired you, but I bought 5
Komodo
used
X's,
monstros
yeah.
or something.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
this was fun.
Also,
We've got actual work to do now.
Yep. So. How am I supposed to wrap this thing up now?
I don't know.
All right.
I'll wrap it up.
Okay,
All
wrap
right,
it up, Gavin.
Gavin's wrapping it up.
Thank you all for watching the Seed Creative Podcast. And also thank you for listening. If you're audio only, be sure to come back next time. We'll talk about other things.
And watch the video podcast. Come on.
You don't have to.
It's not that hard.
And
You don't have to.
tell us if you like the background or not. Also, tell us what you think about the quality. Is the quality held up? Because we're straight up using classic C300s.
And 10-bit. Yeah, drop in if you're listening to this on audio, drop in at minute 23 and 47 seconds. I don't know what that's going to be, but it'll be something. Anyway, goodbye.
Bye. This podcast was produced by Nick Golden with executive producer George Edmondson, edited by Nick Golden and Gavin Manning. Be sure to subscribe, drop a like and a comment. Tune in every Monday for brand new podcast content, and we'll see you on the next one.